live stream. We do this the last Sunday of every single month, and this one is a very exciting one because there have been huge announcements that have come out of Disneyland Paris. So today we're going to go all over them. We're going to talk all about Adventure World, World of Frozen, all the amazing things coming in 2026, and I'm going to give you a rundown, a little trip report of my recent Christmas visit to Disneyland Paris, and I'm going to be answering your questions. So it's going to be an amazing time. If you do have any questions, do pop them in the chat. I will have them up so I can see what is happening as we're talking. And I suppose we should really dive into what the announcements have been, because it has been a huge week when it comes to Disneyland Paris. We've been waiting so long for information, news, updates, what's happening, when is it going to finally open, and now we know. So, the 29th of March 2026 is when World of Frozen is going to open, which is going to be fantastic. It's also going to be when the park rebrands. We're going to be able to go to Adventure Way, see the new nighttime show, there's new dining, new merchandise, new meet and greets. There is so much going on. So we're going to cover all that today. I've got my notes because there's a lot happening. But I'd love to know what you're most excited about. So as we go along, do let me know in the chat what you can't wait for, because I feel like 2026 is going to be an absolutely incredible year, especially in Disneyland Paris. So first up, as we say, 29th of March, which I think is earlier than people were expecting. We knew it was going to be spring, which is any time between March and May. I was expecting maybe late April, early May. So this is very exciting that actually it's quite early in spring, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. If you do have a trip planned for Disneyland Paris next year, have you timed it correct? Are you going to get to go? Or have you been holding off so that you knew the date and then you could go? Are you wanting to go there when it first opens? Are you wanting to hold off a little bit? Because grand openings, very exciting, very busy. So I'd love to know what type of person you are. Do you want to go for the excitement? Because how often do we get to have these grand openings? Or are you like, no, I can't be waiting 4 hours to go on a ride. Hi, Jose, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining. I'm very excited about this, and we cannot wait to hear more about your trip as well, because it sounds absolutely iconic. A little Christmas visit to Disney World. So please do let us know what that was like. But the thing that we should be talking about, I suppose, is what you're going to get to experience, because it's actually a lot more. We all kind of focus on World of Frozen, but there is a lot coming, because of course we have Adventure Way, that is going to have a ride and a character dining restaurant. There's actually going to be 2 rides there. The second ride is an up ride, which is kind of like a swing, you know, like those little seats and they swing around, like an old-fashioned like carnival fun fair type ride. That's not going to open when this first opens, but that is something that is coming. So we're just going to skip over that because it's not going to be there yet. But we are getting this Tangled ride. It's going to be like a teacups ride, but you sit in one of the boats from Tangles and you can spin it, and it looks very, very cute. You've got all of the lanterns in the artwork above you, which looks very, very beautiful. This whole area, actually, in fact, Adventure Way kind of does look like a boardwalk type area. They've announced Mickey and Minnie's new costumes for there, which again, it feels very much like 1920s boardwalk, which is so cute. I think that's going to be really, really fun. But also getting a table service restaurant in this part of the park, which is very exciting. It is going to be called, let me have a little look. I've got it in my notes here. Oh, where's it gone? Okay, so the table service restaurant is Regal View Restaurant and Lounge. So it's going to be a lounge as well. You don't have to go to the restaurant. You can already book reservations. So if you have a trip already booked, either contact Disney themselves or you're provided like attraction tickets who you've booked with, and you can actually book this already. It's going to be €100 per person, but it is a princess character dining meal, which is very exciting. So there's going to be another princess character dining meal coming to Disneyland Paris, this time in the Studios Park, or Adventure World as it will be known then, which is just very exciting. And I think that's going to be really, really fun. People talk about there's not enough places to kind of see the princesses at Disneyland Paris. It is difficult that you're going to have to pay. I think that's one of the problems. But if you do have a hard time getting a reservation for Auberge, you're now going to get to have this, which I think will be really, really fun. And it looks like a really nice, it's very, very upscale, very, very sleek. Can't wait to see the menu for this. So that's going to be very fun. There's also going to be a quick service restaurant, but that time is going to be in World of Frozen, and that one is called Nordic Crowns Tavern, and it's kind of like a build your own bowl. So you're going to get to choose a protein, a base, and then the things you want on top, which I think is really, really fun, because being able to customize your meal to exactly what you want is something that you don't really get at Disneyland Paris, and you can't typically modify the meals that much, if at all. So this is going to be great. It's going to be super, super fun to have a brand new restaurant. They've actually said there's going to be 15 new dining locations. Now, that sounds very exciting. They don't mean 15 new restaurants. We're getting one table service, one quick service. However, there will be food booths and stalls, so places where you can get hot dogs, bread bowls, and then stands like popcorn stands, things like that. So there's going to be more dining coming to Adventure World, which is very exciting. We do know in the restaurants themselves they are also going to have vegan and gluten-free options. Don't know about the stores. Typically the stores at Disneyland Paris aren't that accommodating, but we do know at least in the restaurants there are going to be options, which is very exciting. And there's so much happening. There's so much happening. We've got a brand new show in the daytime. It's going to be called Celebration of Arendelle. It's going to be on the water, featuring 3 boats, characters, and fountains. So I think that's going to be really fun. That's going to happen multiple times a day. So that's going to be really good. And I think it's good where it's on the water. I feel like you're going to have a few different viewing spots. So hopefully it'll be one of those shows that'll be kind of a bit easier to watch. And that's something I'm really looking forward to when it comes to the nighttime show, because you're going to have a very large area, presumably, to watch this. It kind of reminds me a bit like if you go to Epcot and see their nighttime fireworks show, where in the middle you have barges, which is what we're getting in Adventure World, and from that you're going to have projections on water spray, you're going to have pyrotechnics, you're going to have drones. So it's a real mixture of kind of luminous at Epcot, World of Colour from Disneyland, and also the drones that we are famous for at Disneyland Paris. So there's not going to be another show kind of similar to this, which is very, very fun. This is probably one of the things that I'm most excited for. I think we're all sleeping on it, but I think it's going to be a 16-minute show. It's going to feature all different Disney franchises and characters, which I'm so excited for. And I think this could be a real standout moment and something that's going to be nice. The one downside to having a castle nighttime show is the viewing points of the Castle Harbour Main Street, which are very narrow, small areas with a lot of people crammed in. When you have like waterfront lake viewing for nighttime shows, you have so many more areas. It's so much more spaced out. It shouldn't be as squashed and crammed because people are just spread out. I think it's going to be such a joy. So I'm very excited for this. We now have a name. So that's going to be called Cascade of Lights, which I think is going to be very fun. We're like, oh, what's this going to be? And I think we're all downplaying it. I think we're sleeping on it, and it's going to be so much fun. Something else, when it gets to World of Frozen itself, roaming Olaf. They have an animatronic who can walk and talk. And he's just going to be running around in World of Frozen. I cannot wait for this. I think that's going to be absolutely incredible. And I think what will be interesting is how it works, because we do know if you have roaming characters, particularly in a place like Disneyland Paris where it's not common, they can sometimes get swamped. So it'll be interesting how they kind of keep him moving around without kind of everyone blocking his way. But it's going to be so fun and really bring Arendelle to life to have Olaf walking around. There's also going to be a thing called Royal Encounter, where you can meet Anna and Elsa. Now, this is going to have a virtual queue, and that's going to become something that's going to be very important, particularly when it very first opens, which we're going to get into. Of course, in World of Frozen, we're going to have Frozen Ever After, the ride, which is very, very fun. It's going to be the updated version, so it's going to be like the one in Hong Kong, rather than the one in Disney World. So I've been on the one in Disney World multiple times. I think it is a really fun ride. It is a cute ride, but we're getting the better animatronics, which should be super, super fun to go and see. I'm loving all this. I'm going to jump into the comments because I feel like I'm neglecting you. So thank you so much for bearing with me. But I love that you had an amazing time, Jose, in Disney World. And it's fantastic. It was your first Christmas season. I've never done Christmas season in Disney World itself, and I'm desperate to go. So I'm loving hearing all your updates. I love that you're hooked. And it'll be wonderful if you get to go to Disneyland Paris in a few weeks to do their Christmas season. I do think Christmas season is the best time to visit any Disney park. It's when they shine the most. Like, Disney is always amazing and always magical, but in the Christmas season, it's like next level incredible. So I'm so glad that you had the best time. And yeah, I'm desperate to get out there, and the Christmas parties look amazing. It's so exciting. And yes, you have a good point, Jose. Are they going to keep the projection show on Tower of Terror when Adventure World opens? And I've got a feeling they're not going to do that, which I think is such a shame, because you do find some parks, like Hollywood Studios, for example, will do both. So you can go and see Fantasmic, and then they have a projection show on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, like the Chinese theatre. So I feel like they could do that if they stagger them. But I wonder if they will, but I would love it if they did. Because it would be incredible. Hiya, thank you so much for joining us. It's lovely to see you both. Oh my god, I love it. Molly, you're off to Disneyland Paris in January with your family. 2 days of Christmas and 2 days of Disneyland. That's going to be so cute. And it's nice that you're getting to catch the Christmas season, because that's the thing, isn't it? The Christmas season runs from November into January. So you've got plenty of time to experience it. And I think a lot of people think you've got to go for Christmas itself. And in fact, interestingly, I've seen a lot of posts on like Facebook groups of people who have booked to go at Christmas who aren't like Disney people like us that love all the updates, all of the news, all of the vlogs, keeping up to date on everything, thinking that that's going to be a quiet week because people are going to be at home, and it's like, strap in, it's the busiest week of the year. But if you want to avoid the super crowded parts, going in November or January can be absolutely perfect. The one thing I would say is Disneyland Paris do stagger when they start things. So if you go at the very beginning of the Christmas season, you won't get to experience everything. I went at the end of November and almost everything was available, apart from one thing that's starting tomorrow, which is Tinkerbell is going to be doing an advent calendar show every single day up till Christmas. So that is an extra little bonus, but everything else I've got to experience. So I would say, if you want the full shebang, wait till the end of November, very beginning of December. Avoid maybe Christmas week itself and New Year, because that can be super busy. But January is also a fab time to go. And sometimes they will also have sales on in January as well. So you can also get some bargains, which is very exciting. But something we should talk about, if we're talking about sales, it is something to note that with World of Frozen, so we are getting the extension of Adventure Way and World of Frozen, but they are going to be treated slightly differently. So we do know that World of Frozen is going to have a standby to get in. Adventure Way, anyone will be able to visit if you are in Adventure World. However, World of Frozen, if you're there when it very first opens and it's super, super popular, maybe for the first couple of months, you're not guaranteed entry into World of Frozen. So that is something to be mindful of. Obviously, if you stay on site, you have the benefit of being in the park during extra magic hours. Now, if World of Frozen's open during them, we haven't been told yet. If it is, then that's perfect, because you're going to have the opportunity of getting in there. If not, you could start queuing before it opens, and then you'll have the advantage over people who are just day guests or staying off site. But it is worth noting that you don't have guaranteed entry. The only way you can get guaranteed entry into World of Frozen is if you have that virtual queue for Royal Encounter, like we talked about earlier. So the Royal Encounter, you get to meet Anna and Elsa. It's going to be a virtual queue. If you have that booked, you will be allowed in. Interestingly, they have said that Frozen Ever After the ride is going to have premiere access. I think it's going to cost between 13 and 19 euro. So it's kind of pricey. It's one of the more expensive rides if you were to buy it individually. However, if you buy premiere access to go on this ride and you're not already in World of Frozen, they will not give you guaranteed access. So that is something to be aware of. Buying premiere access for Frozen Ever After will not get you into World of Frozen. These are just the things we're hearing at the moment. As we get closer and closer, we'll start to hear more about how the standby process will work, things like that. But those are things to keep in mind if you're going to be visiting. So before parting with your money, make sure you're in the land. I do think when it first opens, this ride is probably going to have 2, 3, 4 hour queues, purely because it is that novelty factor. I do wonder if it won't be as long as some other rides when they first launched, because some people might have ridden it in other parks and are thinking, I want to experience Arendelle, I want to do all of these amazing things in Adventure World. If I don't go on it like this trip, the ride itself, it's not such a problem. So what do you think? Are you like, I've got to go on it regardless, I don't care how long the queue is? Are you like, I might wait I might wait to visit in general until it's quietened down a bit. Do you like the idea of being there when it does first open? So do let us know. It's also worth noting, if you do have an annual pass, they are going to be having pass holder preview days for Adventure Way, World of Frozen. So that's very exciting as well. So if you are an annual pass holder, do look out for that, because that's probably going to be announced pretty soon. But something else that I'm really looking forward to is they've got this new amazing piece of merch called Runa the Troll. And this is going to be a little troll that has a little like strap, so you can like wear this troll while you walk around. And Runa will interact with you. But if you're wearing Runa in World of Frozen, Runa will also interact with the land and other Runa troll interactive toys, which I think is so much fun. And it's one of those things that if you go to Disneyland Paris frequently, you can kind of take it every trip with you and then see it interact and all the different things it can do. It's kind of like, you know, in Adventures Campus, if you love web slingers, you can buy the additional things that help you get more points. So if you go quite frequently and you love that ride, you can like level up. I love that we've got this like Runa the Troll, which looks very cute. It is worth noting that the merchandise, they've given us a little sneak peek, looks very, very cute. World of Frozen merchandise will not have any discounts, including annual pass discounts, for the first year. So it's worth noting, nothing will be in any type of sale, and you can't get annual pass discounts on it. So these are the information that we know so far, but it's just very exciting because we finally have a date, and it's not that far away. We've got like December, January, February. It's like 4 months away. Just under 4 months now. Literally yesterday was the 4-month mark, which is just so exciting. And I think we're all expecting it to be a bit later, but it's just very, very fun. I have to say, when I was in Disneyland Paris, all of this was being announced. However, there was nothing happening in Disneyland Paris itself. So I didn't hear anyone chatting about it. There was no kind of signs up. There was nothing. So if you weren't people like us that love following the news and were like checking social media, seeing the updates as they were coming out, you wouldn't have any clue this was happening, which I thought was quite interesting, because I was like, guys, we need to make a big deal of this. You've been building this for 7 years. This is huge news. So it's very, very interesting. They were like, no, we just wait. You can find out in your own sweet time. But yeah, it was very, very fun to be there, because as we all have seen, most times at Disneyland Paris, if they announce something, it normally opens, or it happens the day after I leave. So I was like, I can't believe this is happening. It was so good. And yeah, I'm just very excited for this. I think World of Frozen looks beautiful. I think it's going to look even more amazing at night. I'm really excited for Adventure Way as well. I like that kind of like old school boardwalk feeling. But like I said, I think I'm most excited for this nighttime show. I think we're sleeping on it. I think it's going to be really amazing. And it's that thing as well, that it's going to have all of the latest technology. It's going to be like so state of the art. So I just think that's going to be amazing. And the addition of this Arendelle show, which I didn't think we would be getting. So it's nice that it's going to be a daytime show as well. So it's going to be so much fun. How do you feel about there being a new character dining meal? How do you feel about it being €100? Because that is interesting. At Disneyland Paris, their character dining meals are significantly more expensive than any other Disney park. So now when they release new ones, you know they're automatically going to be very expensive. Once they started doing €100, €120 for dining, we knew there was no going back. But what are we feeling about that? Is it something you would like to go to? Is it something that you're like, I'll wait till the like hype has died down, maybe see what the reviews are like once the restaurant's actually opened? Like I say, with that, we don't actually know what the food's going to be like so far. Is it table service? Is it buffet? I presume it's going to be buffet, like most of the other character dining meals, but we'll have to see. We don't entirely know. But I am looking for the Nordic Crowns Tavern, like this build your own bowl situation. And I think it's going to be kind of Scandinavian inspired food as well, which I think is going to be so much fun. It's going to be so great. So yeah, I just think this is going to be an amazing time in Disneyland Paris. It's very rare that you get these big kind of grand unveilings of whole new lands. So I think it's going to be so much fun. And of course, we also know they are still currently building Lion King Land. So in a few more years, I don't know how many years, probably quite a few, but that will also be an addition, and that will kind of complete the kind of circle around the lake. So you're going to have like Adventure Way, then you're going to have Frozen, and then Lion King over here, and then we should also be getting a third park. but not until like 2030 something. They have to have broken ground by 2036. But what would you like to see in the new park, actually? If they're going to build a whole new park, what lands do you think? I've also heard, I don't know if anyone else saw this online, there's apparently rumours that there's going to be a Pandora coming to Disneyland Paris. I think that seems really, really curious because Pandora is a very beautiful land, but they're doing it in California as well as Disney World. I don't know if Avatar is big enough to have it in 3 out of the 6 parks. Like, I do think it's very, very stunning, but I'm like, I don't know if we need that. I'd like to have like an original. I would actually love to have a France land, which sounds silly, but like where you have like Aristocats, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Beauty and the Beast. Like, obviously we've already got Remy, which is very exciting. But there's actually quite a lot of Disney films set in France or that have links to France, and it would be amazing, I think, to have more representation of them in Disneyland Paris. So I would love to know what you all think. What would you like to see? Would you like to see a Galaxy's Edge? There was obviously talk about that. That kind of really disappeared. So we don't know if that is ever going to come to Disneyland Paris. Would you like something completely different? Would you like something based on Encanto or Coco or something? I think it would be amazing if we do get a third park to see what they're going to do, what the theme might be. But yes, it's just amazing to think that we're finally here with Adventure Way. And I'm also really excited. They've started showing us Adventure World itself. Obviously, that's going to be completely rebranded. The whole park is rebranded. We've got a new map that we've started to see and a whole new range of merchandise for the park itself. So that is interesting. If you are visiting in the next couple of months, they have started putting out merchandise as a way to kind of say goodbye to Walt Disney Studios Park. So if there's anything you fancy grabbing as a piece of like nostalgia, it's well worth doing that if you're visiting between now and March. And then we're getting all new merchandise. Everything's going to be rebranded, which is very exciting. Right, Jose says, I think they should update the main park with new things before building a third park. It's been so long since they have built something new in the main park. And yes, this is so true. Like, the main park has not had any work, any kind of expansion for a very, very long time. There were rumours that, like I say, Galaxy's Edge was supposed to originally be in Adventure World. Gonna have to really get used to saying that. Because immediately you want to say Walt Disney Studios Park. But the rumours it was going to be there, and then that was kind of shelved. It's gone. There was a rumour that behind Space Mountain, kind of like behind the train tracks, that would be where Galaxy's Edge would go, which actually I think would make real sense. It would really fit thematically. Of course, you already have like Star Tours and Hyperspace Mountain themed on Star Wars. You've got Star Trader's Shop, Darth Vader meet and greet, so it would kind of make sense to kind of incorporate it there. However, I don't know if they're going to ever do much more with the main park. And I know because the third park is something they have had an agreement with the French government, and they keep pushing it back and back and back, and the French government have now kind of put their foot down and being like, you can't keep pushing it back. And because one of the reasons that it was allowed for Disneyland Paris to be built in France was if they would continuously put investment into the country. And yeah, so they're like, we need a third park. But like you say, it's such a shame that there's been like no new rides or anything in the main park for a very, very long time. But do you think we will see that? Or do you think they're just like, we're forging forward with these other things that we're kind of committed to, and maybe eventually they'll come back to the main park? But yeah, who knows? But I'm very excited to see what the future holds. And it feels like, because it's been such a long time with, you know, the past couple of years, particularly like last year and the beginning of this year, there was so much construction in Disneyland Paris, in the village, in the Studios Park, and even in Disneyland itself. So it's so nice to start seeing progression now. So like in Disney Village, where you've already got a few shops that have had their updates, now you've got Sports Bar that's had its update, and you can kind of see the vision of what that's going to look like. It's very sleek, very modern. I think it looks great. That's going to kind of keep continuing over the next couple of years. Annette's Diner, I did go to this trip because on the 4th of January, that's going to be shutting, and it's going to be shut until spring 2027. It's going to be shut for over a year. So I'm very excited to see what that's going to be like. They have said it's going to be keeping the kind of retro 50s diner feel that it already has, but it's going to be the huge renovation. It's interesting the timing of it, because obviously Annette's is one of the most popular restaurants at Disneyland Paris. So for it to be shut when Adventure World is rebranded. World Frozen is opening is interesting, but we'll see what happens. They're doing progression with this Italian restaurant. You know, you can kind of already see the structure of the building now going up. Whilst I was there, like they were getting onto like the second story, so that's coming along. So yeah, there's just a lot of updates going on, but it's nice to kind of start seeing walls come down, things being completed, getting a glimpse of what the future's going to look like. And you know, from March onwards, I would say it's going to all be completed in Adventure World, but that isn't true, because there will be Lion King Land. I don't know if we'll actually see any of that, if there will be construction walls, or if they're doing it in a way that we can't see it. I really don't know. But where it's going to be across the lake, I feel like there's going to be construction walls, right? Because you can't kind of hide a lake or the part behind a lake. And we do know this upride is not going to be built when it first opens. So there might be some construction walls along Adventure Way, like the actual walkway. But we're getting there. At some point in our lifetime, there may be no construction walls. Hi, Michael. Yes, it's so sad that the prices of everything are just going up and up. I get why, I guess, but some families have to save for a long time to go. And this is something I was going to talk about later on, because in September, when they announced the hotel prices for next year, because I was looking for solo trips, and solo prices had gone up significantly. Now, I had friends that had booked for like couples and stuff like that, and the prices had gone up, but not so much. Whereas, like, I could not find any time of year where like the Santa Fe was less than £450 for like 2 nights, it's just crazy how much it's gone up. So yeah, and we're going to talk about annual passes, because that has been another big update. Annual pass prices have shot up. This also presumably means ticket prices are going to go up, and as you say, Michaela, this is absolutely to do with World of Frozen. So because it is opening up, they are pushing all the prices up, which is such a shame, because like you say, people already save for a long time to go, and then to think you're going to have to potentially pay hundreds of pounds extra for tickets, hotels, all of that is such a shame, because, you know, you can't kind of, there has to always be a balance of the price versus value for money. And once it gets to the point where people feel like they're not getting value for money, that's when I think attendance starts to drop, because you do think, well, that's astronomical. And then when you compare it to going to Disney World or something, of course Disney World is more expensive because you go for a long period of time, etc., etc. But sometimes, particularly for families and stuff, you know, it's kind of like, do we just save a bit extra and do like a week or 10 days in Disney World versus 4 days in Disneyland Paris? It's not always a huge jump. So that is such a shame. So we will talk about the annual passes as well. And it was something I was wondering, would people like a video about the annual pass increases, and then the information about how much things are going to cost? Because they've now got 4 tiers. We've changed the tiers as well. But also how many times you would need to visit to get it to be worthwhile, how you need to visit Disneyland Paris for it to work out, because I think that could be quite interesting. Jose, you said you loved walking into Epcot for the first time without construction walls, and the first time I went was in 2019. And that's the thing, isn't it? Epcot had construction walls for a really long time as well. And it makes such a difference, doesn't it? When all of a sudden everywhere is open, everywhere is spacious. There's no kind of like walls that just, I mean, Disney try and like make them a bit interesting, or, you know, not as hideous, but it's just like, we can still tell that's a construction wall. But it does make a huge difference once they're down. Suddenly you can see everything in its new look. But so the annual pass update, new prices and new tiers start February 12th. What I would say is, if you don't have an annual pass currently, it's probably worthwhile buying it before this update, because you're going to save a lot of money. So Disney have changed the Disneyland Pass from 3 tiers to 4. So there was bronze, silver, and gold, and now bronze has 2 different tiers. So bronze 1, very original. You could visit the park, one park, for 170 days a year. So what will happen is you can't park hop with this pass. It's the lowest tier, it's the cheapest tier. It's going to be €289 for a year. 170 days you can enter the park. Do check the calendars before buying your annual pass to see which dates are blacked out for the tier of pass you want. But with this one, like I say, you can't park hop, so you have to pick one park a day to visit. Now, you will still need to book reservations, which is a very annoying thing. Every time there's an update about annual passes, people hope they get rid of the annoying 3-day rule, which is really stupid. You can only pre-book 3 park days. That's staying in place. If you have this first tier, you have to pick which park you're going to go in. All of the annual passes have guest parking, and bronze one, that's the only benefit you get. So you get your tickets for 170 days of the year, 1 park a day, guest parking. We then have bronze 2 with very original names. This one is €399, so quite a jump up, €110 more than the other one. This one you can park hop, so you can visit both parks in one day. It's 210 days a year, so you do get a few more days of the year to play with, and again you get guest parking. Silver is going up €70. It's now going to be €569 a year. You do get 300 days a year. This tends to block out school holidays and very busy days of the year. But if you're avoiding school holidays and stuff like that, this could be a good pass for you. With this one, you do get 10% discount off of shops and restaurants and 10% off of photo pass. But that's it. And then gold is going up by €100 extra. It's now €799 for a year. Now it does have 365-day a year access. You can obviously park hop, 15% discount on shops and restaurants. Photo pass is included in this tier, and you do get extra magic time. However, it's quite a significant jump between silver and gold. It's over it's like €230 extra. So it's really worthwhile seeing the dates and if you do need them or not. Because if not, I wouldn't get the gold. If you can travel out of term times, yes, you get photo pass included. Yes, you get extra magic time. But are they such good benefits that it's worth paying €230 more? I don't think so. Now, I would say with an annual pass, there are no longer room discounts. Occasionally, certain times of the year, they will do an offer. If you have an annual pass, you can save X amount of percentage off of rooms. However, that's not always great because when you do book a room as a package in Disneyland Paris, your tickets are only like €50-60 of that cost. So if you book room only as an annual pass holder, the room rate comes down €60, but you're still paying a huge amount of money. So really, the annual pass is only worthwhile for people who stay off-site. Now, I would say bronze 1, where you can only do 1 park a day, is really only good for locals. And there's so many blackout dates. This really is for locals rather than international visitors. Again, bronze 2, if you don't care about kind of discounts or anything, you just want to be able to go into the park certain days of the year, that can be a good option because it's €399. It's kind of the more affordable option. You do have quite a few blockouts for the dates, so do be aware of that. But it's not terrible if you just want your park tickets. If you do want a little bit extra, so you're getting the discounts as well, and many more days of the year to play with, silver is a good option. Gold's only really good if you're going to be going a lot. Like if you're going multiple, like 5-6 times plus a year. And like, it's nice that you get like photo pass and stuff, but I don't know if it's worthwhile. You get extra magic time because you really need to stay off site. I don't think that's a great benefit because I don't think many annual pass holders will get to use that unless they're getting up at the crack of dawn. But yes, what do you think? Do we think I should do an in-depth video breaking down like how many times a year you would need to visit for each pass? And how do you feel about the increase in prices? I did actually see the other day, I think it was Sam for God, but someone posted, I'm sure it was Sam for God, their annual pass rate from 10 years ago. The annual pass from 10 years ago was amazing because you got like your park entry, the top tier, you got like 365 days a year, you got discounts on everything, you got all of the things you currently get, but you also got hotel discounts, you got free luggage storage, you got I think it was like free wheelchair hire and stroller hire. There were loads and loads of benefits. the top tier one 10 years ago was something like €269. So in 10 years, it's now gone up to €799, and basically 90% of the benefits have been taken away. So how do you feel about the annual pass? Is it worthwhile? What are you thinking? Because yeah, it's a lot. But I would say if you can, and you're thinking of doing it next year, get in before the 12th of February. Buy it before then, so that you can avoid all of these updates. I've also heard that the renewal discount, you used to get 15% discount if you renewed your annual pass. That's going, so no discount. So what are your thoughts? Jose said, I would love to see a video. I'm so used to staying on site at Disneyland Paris, and I hear that it's not a good purchase if you want to stay on site. I would like to hear your take on annual pass stuff. And yes, you're 100% right. Like, now that they've got rid of the hotel discounts, if you want to stay at Disneyland Paris, don't get the annual pass, because like I say, it's such a good offer you get with the room and pass together that it just will never be beneficial. Never be beneficial. You have to stay offsite. Now, luckily, there are a lot of offsite hotels close. There are some that are directly behind Disneyland Paris, which are good partner hotels and have a shuttle. You also have Val d'Europe, which is one train station stop away. Loads of hotels there, big shopping centre, restaurants, amazing. Then you also have other places that are like 1 or 2 stops on the train from Disneyland Paris, like Torchy and places like that. So there are lots of hotel options, and that can be a really good way to visit with an annual pass, because those room rates are much more affordable than Disneyland Paris hotels, particularly now the prices have gone up so much at Disneyland Paris. So if you're planning to go 4 times a year, say for example, or more, staying off-site, finding a really cheap hotel for like a couple of nights less than £200, say, and your flight, then you can actually visit Disneyland Paris quite cheaply. I would say it's only worthwhile doing if you are going to be visiting multiple times a year and staying off site. So yeah, I love staying on site. I think the hotels are fantastic. I love the theming. I don't think there's a bad hotel. I love how close you are to everything. But Disneyland Paris have definitely made it, like, when they switched from the annual pass to the Disneyland pass, there was definitely a push towards, we are aiming this at French people, not international guests. Obviously, we all still love it. So some people will still get the annual pass, but they kind of go into it knowing, I'm going to have to stay off site and just try and do trips that way, which is such a shame. Yeah, Michaela, you said you wanted annual passes, but definitely wouldn't now. I mean, it's shocking. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, the fact that it's like the top tier is now €800. And like we said, I know a lot has changed in the past 10 years, but the fact that it used to be like €269 for the same pass, and not even the same pass, a pass that had significantly more benefits, is really shocking. And like, essentially they've made it that the annual pass is now just if you want to pay for your tickets in advance because you're going to be visiting a lot. That's essentially what it is. It's not really about benefits anymore. So that is definitely something to consider. Like, if you're going to be visiting very frequently, it's like you will see a lot of content creators will get the annual pass just because they know they're going to be going to the parks a lot to film, and they will stay off site to do so. But if you're going on Disneyland Paris to go on holiday, then it's not really worthwhile, the annual pass, honestly. Which is nuts. So Jose, I actually haven't stayed in a lot of off-site hotels. I have stayed at the hotels behind Disneyland Paris, and I've stayed at the B&B and Campanile, and I thought they were both great. They're both like budget-friendly hotels. They were very affordable. I would say I liked the B&B slightly more because it was just a bit more modern. That was the only difference. It's also interesting, normally a bit cheaper, which is crazy. But what's really good about it as well is they are very good hotels, particularly B&B, if you are a larger group. So like, I just booked a standard room, and when I got there, I had a double bed, a single bed, and a bunk bed. So there was like room for like 5 or 6 people in one room, which was wild. And it was just a standard room rate. It was amazing. So I think offsite hotels can be really, really beneficial that way. I am thinking about getting an annual pass next year, just to make visits more affordable, because I love staying in the Disney hotels. And what I have been doing, kind of I had an annual pass for 1 year, and all of the other years, what I do is I look for off-season dates, and I use the Disneyland Paris website to look at their calendar to see which are the cheapest dates of the year to visit. And then that's when I go, because I just love staying on site. But I was like, next year, if I want to go to make it more budget friendly, I'm going to have to stay off-site. And if you have the annual pass and do that, you can make it more affordable. It's still not cheap, obviously, but it's more affordable because, like, when I was looking up the solo prices next year, I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go once to Disneyland Paris because the prices have gone up so much. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So do you let me know if you've looked up for like a couple, if you're a family, have you been looking up the prices for next year? Have you also seen a significant jump? Because I heard some people being like, oh, it's not as bad as I was expecting, whereas I was like, I was shocked at how much. But I think it depends on your circumstance sometimes. But yeah, I was like, next year I definitely think if I'm going to go, it's going to have to be off-site with an annual pass. And I think I will go for the silver tier. I am going to buy before February 12th. So the silver tier at that time is €499. Whereas if I was to buy afterwards, it would go up to 569. So like quite a big jump. But I'm like, okay, I've kind of worked out how many days or trips I might need, and kind of what I already had in my mind of how many times I might go. So I'm like, okay. And I've been looking at different hotels. There's quite a lot of great hotels in Val d'Europe. The ones that come up quite a lot are, there's an Ibis or an Ibis Express, I think it's called, which are very close to the train station. A lot of people stay there. There's a Resid Home, which again has really good reviews, and they're like the most budget friendly ones, and they're very, very close to the train station. You also have things like the Moxie, which is a bit more expensive, but that also seems like a good choice. And then you have places like Torchy. So Torchy has like a B&B, like you get behind Disneyland Paris, but significantly cheaper. And I think it's 2 train stops, a 10-minute train journey from Disneyland Paris. So I think it's nice to know that there are different places you can stay. And I would always look up, because something to be aware of is there are hotels near Disneyland Paris that if you had a car, you could get to Disneyland Paris easier. If you are having to use public transport, you're going to be on a bus for 50 minutes. So definitely look at places in Val d'Europe and look on the map. Like I always use Expedia and I use the map feature so that I can then see where the train station is in like Val d'Europe, Torchy, places like that, and then where the hotel is, because I've seen some amazing hotels that have great reviews, but they are like a bus and you have to change it to another bus, and you're like, no, I can't be doing that. It's just going to take too much time. It's too much stress, which is such a shame. But yes, I agree, Jose. I think B&B is great. It's somewhere that I really, really rate. The shuttle buses can get busy, and the only downside is those hotels. There's 5 hotels on this strip behind Disneyland Paris, and they all share a shuttle. However, what I've found is in peak hours, like in the morning, sometimes you would get to go on the bus and it was rammed. So I'd wait for the next one, and a few minutes later, another one would turn up and it would be almost empty. So sometimes just doing that can help. And it's also that thing of if you were desperate and you were like, it's after the park has shut and you just want to get back to your room, you can get an Uber and it'll be like a few euros, so it's not too expensive, which is good to know. But yeah, I thought they were great. And like you say, hotels like B&B, they have breakfast included. So a lot of off-site hotels do have those benefits where you're getting like meals included, stuff like that. So that can help cut down costs for you. Even some of the hotels in Val d'Europe have a shuttle. I don't think they're super frequent. And with the train being just a few minutes away, I think it's like a 3-minute train journey, 1 stop, then, you know, it's probably not worthwhile. They have changed. You used to be able to get like a strip of like 10 train tickets, but now you can actually get a card. I think it's €2 to purchase the card, and then you can preload tickets onto it. So you could like add 10 tickets or something and then just scan that during your trip, so it's ready to go. And then if you are someone that goes frequently, you've got the annual pass, you can just keep that card and use it for every single trip. So it's good to know that there are like options. And I do think it's such a shame. Like, obviously we know World of Frozen costs a lot of money, but the fact that the prices are going up so much, you do think, oh god. And as we all know, like Disney like to increase the prices overnight without announcing it. So typically it happens normally in October. It's always October for Disney World. Sometimes Disneyland Paris, it's November. But all of a sudden overnight, like restaurants, things like that will go up. And I always feel bad for people if you were out there on holiday at that time, because you couldn't have known this was coming. And then all of a sudden, whilst you're there, things are more expensive than you were anticipating. We haven't had that so far with Disneyland Paris. They've done the sneaky, like, hotels and annual pass for next year. So far, the end part of this year, we haven't had that happen. So maybe they're keeping those things more steady because they know they're squeezing people with these other things. And like I say, tickets are now on sale up until March 2027. So if you are thinking of booking an off-site hotel, you could already book a Disney hotel with your tickets included up until March 2027. But if you were just purchasing tickets only, that took a little bit longer to come on sale, but they are now on sale. But again, the prices are kind of going up. It's dynamic pricing depending on how busy it is at the different times of year. So that is something to consider. So it's one of those difficult things, isn't it? It's like we're all excited for World of Frozen and Adventure Way, but we're also now paying for it. Which is such a shame because, yeah, it just makes it so much more difficult to visit. Michaela, you said you stayed at the B&B Express in September as you drove, and that was a fab price and didn't have any complaints. And I think that's the great thing, isn't it? Because driving is such a good option, because something I love about that, you can take as much luggage as you want and as many things as you need, which is really great for families as well, particularly if you've got babies. You can decide when you want to stop, how often you want to stop, stuff like that. So you just got much more control. So that's something I've been considering, like, is it worth driving? Because I typically go solo. I'm like, it feels like a long drive because I'd have to get from Portsmouth to Eurotunnel and then, you know, on the other side. But it does sound kind of nice that you're on your own schedule. And it's amazing. And like you said, a lot of these hotels do have free parking and things like that. So that's another really, really great benefit. If you're multiple people in a car, that's way cheaper because I think it's just one set price for the Eurotunnel, so that could be much cheaper than going on the Eurostar or flying. So yeah, I think it's so fab. And yeah, I love that everyone's had a great experience. I really liked B&B. I always rate it. And like I said, they actually have a few other B&B hotels in the area which are close to train stations. So if you want to stay a bit further afield to save a bit more money, that can be a good option as well. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting year because it's going to be super fun, but also expensive. But yeah, I do think it's going to be wonderful. I think that the photos we've seen, it's that difficult thing. I've been trying to balance, like, wanting to look at things but also wanting things to be a surprise. So I haven't been looking at loads of things in detail. I'll do like a quick glance and then be like, okay, we've seen a little bit of it. Because I would like a surprise. But the Olaf animatronic I'm obsessed with. Cannot wait for that. And I also thought during this live stream we'd do a little bit of a trip report about my recent Disneyland Paris visit, which was amazing. Like we were saying earlier, Disney shines the most at Christmas. It's unbelievable. And what's nice about Disneyland Paris, I was unfortunate because there was quite a lot of rain. However, if you're visiting this time of year where it's a bit cooler, you can wear layers and wrap up, it feels wintry and Christmassy as well, which was so lovely. But first I want to talk about, I got to stay in Sequoia Lodge. Now, I've got a feeling my first ever trip back in 1992, which makes me feel really old, I stayed at Sequoia Lodge, but I don't remember it. So it's great going back this time. Now, I have to be honest, this is a hotel I had avoided staying at because when I'd seen the rooms, they always seemed a bit like old-fashioned or a bit like they needed updating. I actually think it's just the colours they've used. Like, the hotel itself is so unbelievably stunning. Like, when they say it's kind of like a lodge that you would stay in at an American National Park, it really is. So when you're walking up to the building, it's loads of stone and wood. It's amazing. Inside, you've got this amazing huge fireplace. Like, it's so cozy. If you're looking for a winter hotel, I would say out of all of the resorts, this is the best hotel for winter. It's unbelievable. And then the rooms themselves, I thought they were quite spacious. Like, the colours, I think, are the problem because it's kind of like browns and like creams and they're a bit muted, which I think makes it look dated, even though these rooms kind of aren't. But I thought it was so cute. You have like Bambi theming, but this hotel is going to undergo a big renovation starting next year. So the rooms are going to be brighter and lighter. So they're still going to have like wood paneling and stuff like that, but just a bit more brighter so they don't feel as like dowdy. But I was blown away, and I feel so bad that it's taken me so long to stay at Sequoia Lodge. I massively regret it. It's probably one of my favourite hotels now. Although I have to say, I don't think there's a bad on-site hotel at all. I haven't stayed in the Disneyland Hotel, and I haven't stayed at Davy Crockett, which, if I do drive one time, that's where I'd like to stay. I'd love to stay there, but you have to have a car to stay at that resort. But out of the other hotels, I've loved every single hotel, and I love them for all different reasons, but I genuinely don't think there is a bad hotel. I think it's great to pick based on maybe budget or theming, but outside of that, you can't go wrong. What I would say that is such a great benefit to Sequoia Lodge is it is a extra 1 or 2 minute walk from Art of Marble Hotel. Considering it is significantly cheaper, it's incredible. It is such a benefit to be that close to the parks. It's like a 10-minute walk to the parks, like 5 minutes, if that, to Disney Village. So that, I think, makes Sequoia Lodge an amazing hotel. It might even be slightly better to me than Newport Bay, because it's cheaper than Newport Bay, but it's closer to the parks than Newport Bay. So I was so blown away with Sequoia Lodge. That was my first thing. I was obsessed. Absolutely loved it. Loved my stay. And the Christmas season, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And what's really nice is there's so much going on, way more things happening than the Halloween season. Like, Halloween was super fun, but there was like a few things you could experience. Christmas is jam packed, so every day there is things to experience. So of course, first up is how beautiful the park is. The decorations, unbelievable. I absolutely loved it. Something that's really amazing is at night when you have the projections down Main Street. So all of the buildings have projections on them. Some of them have like Christmas things, like little peppermint candy canes and stuff like that. Some of them have people in the window and you hear them talking and stuff. Everywhere there is Christmas music, which is wonderful. I got to see the Christmas tree lighting ceremony, which was so cute, and the Christmas tree is just such a great icon on Main Street itself. So I thought the park was really, really beautiful. The highlight for me was Mickey's Dazzling Christmas Parade. Interestingly though, it is two very different experiences, whether you watch it in the Main Street hub near the castle versus the Christmas tree. It's an entirely different experience. In front of the Christmas tree is a million times better. Like, you're much closer to the action, you are much closer to the characters, easier to interact, far fewer people, so nowhere near as squashy and as pushy and as horrible as it can be near the castle. The show itself, all of the characters and the floats will do 2 laps around the Main Street hub and the Christmas tree, so you get loads of time to see them. The Christmas tree as part of the show is absolutely amazing. Down the other end, by the castle, really crowded. The floats do 1 lap, if that. Some floats you will not see, depending on where you're standing, you may only just see them in the distance. One of the benefits is that some of the characters will get off of the floats and go onto the castle hub stages like they do in parades, like Dream and Shine Brighter and things like that. However, again, depending on where you're standing, depends on whether you're going to see that or not. So I did not enjoy it anywhere near as much down that end. There was way too many people. When I was there, we'd all been waiting like 40 minutes. So we were like on the curb so we could watch like 5 minutes before the show started, something like that. 2 families turned up with loads of kids and were like pushing their kids in front of everyone, and they were running in the road, and the cast members were all panicking because obviously at that point they need everyone to be on the pavement. The kids were then like grabbing people, pushing people, kicking people, even though they pushed in front of them. It was horrible. So you just couldn't enjoy the parade. But also, you just didn't get as much interact with the characters. You didn't get to see all of the floats depending on where you were standing. Like, I did not enjoy the experience. However, by the Christmas tree itself, supreme, unbelievable, absolutely loved it. It was so festive, so amazing. I was absolutely obsessed. So I would say if you're going to go and do it then, and also do it the second showing of the day, which is when it will be dark and the floats are lit up. It's just such a better experience. So do it that way. If you're going to only watch it once, do it at night near the Christmas tree. Don't bother with the castle, because it was horrible. It was not fun. And then they also had an amazing show called Let's Sing Christmas, and you have 4 carolers on stage, kind of dressed kind of a bit like Muppet Christmas Carol, Dickensian, Victorian Christmas, which was lovely. And then you have Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, Goofy, and Clarabelle, which is so fun because you don't often see her, so she was really fun to be out. And they're singing all different songs. Some of them are in English, some of them are in French, and it'll be stuff like, it's all songs and carols that we know, but it's fun to kind of hear them in like French compared to English, which is so fun. And there was a stand-up moment where they were kind of talking about like Minnie's big showstopper, and like she runs off stage and she gets changed and she's teasing her outfit and stuff, and then she sings All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey, and it was absolutely incredible. She was such a diva. I was obsessed, and the show was fantastic. It was so good. It is one of those shows you do need to get there early to get a seat. It's in Videopolis, so there are quite a few seats, but they do fill up quickly. So I got there, I think, well, I actually got there really early, but I started queuing probably about 50 minutes before the show, and they let you in 10 minutes before the show. They made you wait a long time. But what I would say, what's great is Videopolis, if you get something to eat from Cafe Hyperion or a drink, there is so much seating where you can actually see the stage. So you could actually time it that you get a meal in advance of the show starting and then sit there and eat and watch it. So that could be another option. If you don't mind being a little bit further away, you just want to experience the show, that can be a really good option. But that was another standout for me. I'm going to go back to the comments. Michaela, you said we're near Portsmouth too, which is very exciting. How amazing. We're all down south, which is amazing. But you drive to Folkestone the night before and get a hotel with Expedia. I think that's such a good option because it's breaking it up, isn't it? Because otherwise doing that drive is quite long. But like you say, if you get a hotel, it just breaks it up. You're feeling nice and refreshed the next day when you're going to Disney. And then it also means that you'll have more time in Disney on your first day because you can kind of get a morning Eurotunnel, drive, get to your hotel, and then go into the parks rather than kind of making a really long travel day. So I think that's a really good option. And Jose said, is there a show stop during the Christmas parade? So if you are by the castle, they will have all of the floats come out and then all of the floats will stop. And Mickey and a few of his pals will go on the castle stages and they will do a little bit of a show there whilst all the other people are still on their floats. And then the floats will go down Main Street. If you go to the Christmas tree end, what happens is like the show's happening all the time, which is really, really nice. So like there's no like official show stop per se, but there's things happening as the floats are going around that are part of the show. Now what I would say is I stood outside Flora's facing the Christmas tree, and I actually think that was the best place to stand because some of the characters interact with the Christmas tree. So if you were standing near the train station, for example, you would miss all of that because you're on the wrong side of the Christmas tree. And some people were stood in front of the Christmas tree so that they could see the floats and down Main Street, which is cool because I think the photos you get a bit of the castle in the background. But I do think standing on the corner by Flora's or the other side near Emporium, but that's not as good. The corner near Flora's is the one to do, facing the Christmas tree. And it was amazing. But yeah, the Christmas tree end is so much. And I actually spoke to a few cast members because I hadn't seen this show before. The last time I was in Disneyland Paris on Christmas was 2021. So it was the weird like COVID year anyway. And I was there at the very start of the season. So I think my last day of the trip was when Christmas properly started. The decorations had been going up, but it was the first day of the Christmas season. And I didn't get to see the kind of show because I had to leave. So I was very excited to see the parade. And all of the cast members I spoke to, they all said doing in front of the Christmas tree is much better. And they were 100% correct. And like I say, doing it at night as well, such a better experience than in the daytime. Something that was brand new this year, which was wonderful, was meeting Mrs. Claus. So she is in the Main Street hub. It's kind of like when you had Mary Poppins with the music festival season, when they're in the bandstand. But what was fun is that she kind of comes along and she will interact with people in the audience. So what's really nice is it's kind of like a meet and greet, but an unofficial meet and greet. So there isn't a queue to meet her. You just kind of stand in the little areas around that Main Street hub. She will come along, speak to people. She speaks English, French, and Spanish, so she could speak to a lot of people in their native language, which was amazing. And she'll have like one-on-one conversations for maybe 30 seconds or so and do photos with you. I thought it was amazing because it was so fun to interact with her. She was so fantastic. She was so much fun. And she was like, should we do an Elfie? And I was like, yes, which was amazing. But it means she gets to meet so many people at once. It's so much quicker than a meet and greet, and you're not stood in a queue for ages. Loved it. She was absolutely iconic. She was amazing. I also got to meet Santa, which I was so excited. I was trying to think. I can't remember the last time I met Santa, mostly because I'm nearly 40 and I don't have children. So it'd be kind of weird to meet Santa. It was amazing. He was so like Santa. He has an amazing grotto. He had this like huge chair, and he was like, oh, come and sit next to me on the chair. And he was asking me all about did I have the tree up? And I was like, isn't it good that we did that live stream where we put the tree up? Because I was like, yes. And he was like, do you have a star? And I was like, no, I've got Jack Skellington. And then he was like, just to let you know, you're on the good list. And I was like, yes, we've made it. And it was amazing. It was just such a wonderful experience. Now, that was a virtual queue. Let me tell you, it was the most Disney moment of my life. The virtual queue, it was getting close to 9:45. I was in the queue for Dumbo, and I was thinking, oh no, we're about to get on Dumbo. We're going to be loading onto Dumbo when this virtual queue goes live. Like, the timing's all gone wrong. As I was waiting in the queue for Dumbo, it also started raining. I was on Dumbo, I'm trying to do up the seatbelt, I'm trying to get the virtual queue in the rain, and I was clicking. I got ticket number 2. I've never been that early with a virtual queue. I don't know how it happened. So literally, I got off of Dumbo and had to walk straight to go and meet Santa. But I was like, I've never felt more accomplished in my life. I was like, I did it. Even though the odds were against me with the rain, the seatbelt, and all the things happening. And you can meet him. He is next to Videopolis. In Studio Beta. It's where they used to have Minnie in her vacation outfit, or Stitch when he was Elvis, in that little meet and greet area. But it's all themed around Santa, and they do have a photo pass photographer in there, so if you do have photo pass, you can get those photos. They give you a card if you just want to buy them individually, and you can also take, like, I took some selfies with him. It was a highlight. I loved it, and he was so like Santa. I was so happy. So to meet Santa and Mrs. Claus was such a joy. I was obsessed with it. There was a few other shows. So I got to see the Princess celebration. That is about a 15-minute show. It's in the castle hub on the stages. There's 8 different princesses. So I was stood facing the castle, but like on the right-hand side at the backstage. And I think I saw Tiana, Snow White, Mulan, and who else did I see? Rapunzel. If you're on the other side, you had 4 other princesses. So I thought that was amazing because you had them rotating between 2 stages each. So it was very much split down the side. So, you know, depending on which stage you stand on, depends what princesses you will see. But you will see at least 4 because they rotate between 2 stages on each half. It was great. And something I like is the princesses are a big draw at Disneyland Paris, but the only way to see them at the moment is the virtual queue, and if you don't get a spot, you can't meet them, or by doing carriage dining, which, as we know, is expensive. The third option is going to the Disneyland Hotel, but they've obviously recently brought in restrictions about who can now enter the Disneyland Hotel, and I think it's because a lot of people were going to see the princesses, but I think it's kind of a problem of their own doing, because the princesses are popular, but they're not out, so people can't see them. And if you can't get a virtual queue and you don't have a carriage dining meal, you can't see them at all. So this show I thought was really great because it was a fantastic way to see so many princesses at once. They all turn up in their like little sleighs, which was so fun. And yeah, I just thought that was a really, really cute show. It was like 15 minutes long. I would say the only downside was at the same time, 15 minutes before this starts, at the other end of Main Street by the Main Street hub, they have a show with Mickey and his pals, all to do with Christmas. Now, you wouldn't be able to see them both on the same day. So if you're going for multiple days, you could see one and then see one another day, because they're 15 minutes apart. So once one finishes, the other one's already starting. So you can't kind of do that. Unfortunately for me, the day I was going to see Mickey and his pals, it was pouring with rain. And it had been pouring with rain for hours. But they still had like guests flow out. They had the cast members getting everyone ready. So everyone was with their umbrellas and their hoods up, waiting for the show. And 1 minute before they went, "Oh, we can't sit because of the rain." And I was like, "It's been raining for hours, guys." And I felt so sorry for guest flow because these cast members had been out getting soaked. Everyone knew it probably wasn't going to happen, but they were still made to be out there. So unfortunately, I didn't get to see that. I have since seen like little clips, and I think I like Mickey and those characters more than princesses. So I kind of wish I'd been able to see that show. But I wanted to do the princess show because there are more chances to see Mickey. So I'd seen Let's Sing Christmas. I'd seen Mickey and Minnie and people like that in that show. So I was like, okay, well, let's do the princesses because I hadn't seen them anywhere else. That technically is a lie because I did go to Auberge de Cendrillon for breakfast, which is also going to be the vlog series, which is very exciting. I've never done breakfast there. So that was very, very fun. But yeah, I was like, let's do the princesses, and I thought it was a good show, but I probably would have enjoyed the other characters more. And again, it's that swings and roundabouts. Like the Main Street Hub is just so much more compact, so you get much closer to the characters. Although I do like that with the stages, if you're stood near to the stages, you can interact with the princesses, which is fun. But I love that there's just so many things going on. They also had some things that I did miss out on because of the rain. So they had an Aurora show that was behind the castle, which did look really, really cute. And also, what was the other thing? There was one other thing that I didn't get to see. Oh no, the Holiday Gathering, which is Mickey. So I only missed those two because of the weather. But there were so many things on offer. So you have the Christmas tree ceremony, you have the parade, you have the projections on Main Street. You can meet Mrs. Claus, you can meet Santa Claus, you can see Let's Sing Christmas, you can see the Princess show, you can see the Mickey show, you can see Aurora. They also had some roaming characters occasionally behind the castle. So I did briefly glimpse, although she was going backstage, Belle, but in her winter costume, which was incredible. She looked amazing. So I just felt like there was so much going on. There was also Jack Skellington in his Santa Claus outfit. Didn't manage to get a virtual queue for that. And this is the same thing that happened at Halloween. I don't know how quickly these virtual queues for him are going, because every other virtual queue you could get spots for if you knew what you were doing. That was just impossible. I tried like twice every single day, didn't get it at Halloween or Christmas. Now there's obviously people that did get it, but yeah, just no luck with that. But I'm really glad I got to meet Santa because I felt like that was very, very special. I am thinking about in an upcoming video doing a video all about how to do the virtual queue, like which characters you can meet, how you do it. There's definitely tips to help you be more successful. So like when we were going on Dumbo, the family in front of me were from the UK as well, and I could see the woman on her app, and I was like, "Are you trying to get a virtual queue as well?" And she was like, "Yes." So we were like, "Okay, like this is what you should do." When we got off the ride, I was like, "Did you get it?" And she didn't manage to, which is such a shame. So there are some things you can do, such as like using mobile data, not the Wi-Fi. If you're more than one person, having a second phone that has an official clock that will tell you exactly the second that it turns to 9:45 or 2 p.m. will help you, because your phone sometimes could be out a few seconds and stuff like that, which is why you miss out on things like Jack Skellington. If you have the second phone, you're much more likely to get Jack Skellington. It's still hard, but it's more doable. And also I found when I went to Disneyland Paris for Halloween, I was trying to refresh on the app. I found what was much better was if you pressed back button and then join the virtual queue again. That seemed much quicker than doing the refresh. So I'm thinking about doing a video about that, like the tips of how to get it and kind of what the experience is like, stuff like that. But I have to say, I do think the virtual queue is good because it does cut down waiting quite a lot. But the downside with it is if you don't get a spot, you can't meet those characters. So it swings and roundabouts. The traditional standby queues are always exceptionally long in Disneyland Paris. So sometimes, like, I never meet characters because of it. But the downside with the virtual queue is if you don't get a spot, you can't meet them at all. So it's like swings and roundabouts. I think the Anna and Elsa royal encounter is going to be crazy. I think it's going to be a Jack Skellington situation where it's going to be gold dust to get. So maybe doing a video before that with the tips and advice of the best chance of getting the virtual queue would be a good option. So that could be really, really fun. Hi Natalie, lovely to see you. How are you doing? But yeah, I'm very excited for this upcoming year. Like we said, there's so many new things coming. We've been waiting so long for it, which is just going to be so exciting. I think it all looks really, really pretty. I love that we're having like the boardwalk feel in Adventure Way. We're getting the character dining meal. I think the nighttime show is going to be spectacular. World of Frozen looks stunning. Like having the castle is going to be amazing. And it's so interesting to have like a castle inside Adventure World. Like that's going to be so fun that you've got like 2 castles to visit now, which is going to be fantastic. Downside, everything going up in price, including the annual passes. But it's the way of things, isn't it? Like, but I think it is so difficult, isn't it? Because the cost of living, everything is so difficult at the moment around the world. So when Disney put the prices up to accommodate the new things, it's difficult because people are already being squeezed massively just on daily life expenses. And it then becomes so much harder. And like we were saying earlier, people either have to save up much longer, postpone trips, think, oh, we can't go next year, we'll go the year after. So it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's got to be a balance because you want the new things, but also when you end up paying a lot for the new things, it's so hard. But I am just excited that we now know the official date, 29th of March. Is happening. Is anyone planning to go? Did you already have a trip booked for next year, or were you waiting for the dates to be announced? If you are going next year, do you have a time frame? Are you wanting to go closer when it opens? Do you want to wait a little bit? I think it's going to be really interesting to see at Christmas time next year if they do anything in Arendelle, because it's going to be the perfect setting. So it'd be nice if they had like some decorations, I think. I would love to see that. I think this year they did have some Christmas decorations near Remy. Now I have to say, this trip I didn't even head into the Studios park because there was just so many things to do in the other park. So I didn't see that, but they did have it a little bit decorated, even though the ride is down currently. So I don't know if that's what they wanted to make a bit of a feature of the land because you couldn't go on the ride. But maybe it's a good sign that they will start adding more Christmas into that park. So maybe next Christmas, Arendelle will be decorated, which would be wonderful, which would be so much fun. But yes, do let me know because I'd love to know what you're thinking about all of these new updates. And I'm very excited for the vlog series to start. This Wednesday is when the Christmas vlogs go out, and they will go all the way up until Christmas, which is going to be perfect. So it's going to be 3 weeks of vlogs. And it was just such a lovely trip. And it was all totally Christmas focused. And it was just lovely. It was just, you don't get anywhere as Christmassy as Disney, and it is even more magical. I genuinely think if people only have one chance to ever visit Disneyland Paris, do it in the Christmas season because it is so wonderful and magical. It was so good. Lindsay, that's very exciting. Going in May, perfect timing, isn't it? Because the big rush will have been over, so you're going to get to experience it, but with hopefully fewer crowds from the opening and before the summer rush. So I think that's going to be a real sweet spot, which is so exciting. And yeah, it's just so fun, isn't it, to think we're going to have loads of new things to try out next year. And it's even the little things like new shops, new merchandise. I think all of those things are like part of the fun. Look, I love looking in the shops. I think when I go to Disneyland Paris, I literally go in every single shop. I can't stop myself because I'm like, but this one might have something different. So I'm really excited to see all of this new merchandise, all of these new shops. Like I said, there's 15 new dining locations, only 2 restaurants, but food booths, food stalls, lots of things to experience. I'm really excited for Rooney the Troll. I'm almost certain I'll end up getting one. And I'm like, do we need one? Probably not, but it does sound very fun. That interacts with everything and everyone. And Olaf, this is what I'm most excited for, to see Olaf walking around. And like I said, I think it's going to be interesting because particularly when he's first out and about and it's the land has just opened and everyone's going to be so excited to be there and it's going to be busy. It'll be interesting to see how far he gets, because I feel like if you go to Galaxy's Edge, the Mandalorian is supposed to roam around the Galaxy's Edge. I've only ever seen him stood in one place because the second he comes out, he gets swamped. And I feel like Olaf could be the same. So we're all expecting him to walk around. How far he'll get, I don't know. Because I think he'll be so popular. But yeah, it's just a very exciting time. And it just feels nice. After so much construction and such a long wait to finally know it's mere months away. and we're gonna have all of this new thing to explore. It's gonna be so wonderful, and yeah, it's just so nice to kind of have the Christmas season, and like this time of year already feels kind of special. So you have this announcement during that time of year, which is it's just so nice. It's like the little cherry on top. Then you go into a new year, and I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I always feel like it genuinely does feel like a new chapter, like a blank canvas, what's going to happen. And then to know like, oh, this exciting thing's coming up, and like later in the year you're going to experience it is so fun. So yeah, I just think 2026 is going to be super, super interesting. And this potentially is actually the last live stream of 2025, because what I normally do is a New Year's Day live stream where we kind of look over the last year and also ahead to the next year of what we're all doing, any plans we have, the plans for most magical guides, trip plans. So this might actually be the last one. If we stick with tradition, the next one will be the 1st of January. Which sounds wild, because I saw something today, someone was like, oh, 26 days to Christmas. I was like, embarrassing, you can't do a calendar. And I was like, embarrassing, I can't do a calendar. It is that close now. I was like, I can't believe it. So we're getting very, very close to 2026. But that's just another exciting Disney year ahead. So thank you so much for joining. This has been a very, very fun live stream. I'm looking forward to seeing you all, hopefully, in the new year. Excited to talk about all of the new plans, what we're going to do going ahead. My trip plans are still a bit up in the air, but hopefully by then we'll have a bit more of an idea, which is very exciting. And yeah, I just can't wait to talk about it. And for this Christmas vlog series to start on Wednesday, which I cannot wait for you to see. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will speak to you all real soon. See you later. Bye.